West Ham have finally got a director of football. It's done. They have officially announced the signing of Nils Koppen, the Belgian director of football. They're calling him director of player recruitment, technical director, whatever you want to call him. There's so many different names. It's all the same bloody job. He's in charge of transfers. We finally got it done now. I'll give some thoughts on this guy and what it means, but it's good to have someone finally through the door. Now we can start our business. Now we can get on with it. You know, I did a video yesterday where we was talking about getting the assistant coaching, for Nuno. And there was a lot of people like, what's happening with transfers? What's going on? And it's like, we've got to get this sorted. Apparently, it was held up by work permits. That's why it took so long to get him in through the door. But it's done, and now we can move forward. Now, my initial thoughts on this guy is, look, it's not the big, exciting, ambitious signing that we all hope for, like for a director of football. But we are in the Championship. He doesn't have the best CV, but it's not bad. It's not bad when you look at him. We'll go through some of the signings that he's made in the past for other clubs. He's worked for Rangers and PSV and clubs like that. So ultimately, it's just about getting someone in the door. So his job is going to be part in charge of scouting, in charge of recruiting those players, working closely with Nuno, and he's going to be in charge of negotiating transfers. So we've got that done and over the line. So he's basically overseeing everything with Nuno. And I think Nuno's blessing was key for this role. You know, he had issues at Forest with Edu, big falling out at Forest. So that, I think, is something to take into consideration, is that he didn't want to have someone that was just going to come in and sign a bunch of players that he didn't want. You know, he wanted someone that's going to come in and work with him, not over him. And it seems to be that's what we've got now. You know, and I think the sort of guy that we're going to see is someone trying to sort of signing a lot of gems and looking for gems. You know, that's going to be, I think, something that we're getting with him. Is someone that's looking for those small players, them little hidden gems that turn out to be big players, which he's done before. You know, that like his track record. We'll go over some of them. You know, Ismail Sabari. He signed him, I think, for like 100 grand or something, and is now potentially joining Bayern Munich for 52 mil. So big flip there. Xavi Simons, who went to Spurs for big money. Whatever you think about how he's done at Spurs, like for PSV as a youngster to sign him and then he end up going for 60 mil, that's huge. Jared Braithwaite, obviously Everton. You know, so he signed quite a few young players that turned out to be, you know, really highly valued and go to top clubs for big money. So yeah, it's brilliant. Really, to have someone like, because we're going to need that. That's what we need. We're not going to be there and splashing 50 mils on players. Like, if he can sign gems, especially in the Championship, not just go, all right, well, who's a Championship player? It's signing for the future. It's signing a player that can come in and be good in the Championship, but be good enough for the Prem. So I think that's key. So yeah, the transfers will sign. I see people saying we sign this player, that player. Now I think the ball's rolling. I think with the Fernandez deal, that was just too big of a deal, too big money to wait. So it was a case of take that early and get it moving. But yeah, as Dad's Our Job said, the structure is finally coming together now at this club. You know, you got Karim Varane, you know, who's coming in a really good job as Brady's replacement. I think he negotiated the Fernandez deal, had a big part in it. You know, with Nuno's getting his team in. Now we got the director of football. Like, it's all coming into place. And now we should start seeing some movement and some incomings. He's going to be, and I imagine like from the moment, even though he's just signed today, he's probably already good to go. He's probably already got names. They're probably already players that's been identified between him and Nuno. They've just been waiting for that work permit to get done. Yeah, and you're right. Good vibes around the club, and it's just like every time there's one of these new announcements, it just feels like a new part of the new era. You know what I mean? It feels like a step forward and a step away from how we used to do things. Now, look, when you sign a director of football, they are, only as good as the players they bring through the door, and you have to really have more hits than flops. So he'll be judged on what we sign. And, if we sign a load of rubbish, then, ultimately, we sack him and get someone else in. That's how it goes. But yeah, listen, let's be real. Remember who was our director of football last season? David Sullivan. He had a big hand in that. And I know we had, what was his name? Max Million, the guy who was the recruitment guy from Potter. I know we had him who was really Maximilian Hahn. I know he was a big sort of part on data and stuff, but you still had Sullivan interfering and negotiating and all of that stuff. And now we've got an experienced professional going in and negotiating transfers and all of that stuff. So I think that, like, whatever you think, right, whether you look at this guy's CV and go, could have done better or not, right, or you think this looks like, it's an upgrade, it's a structure, and it's a step in the right direction. So that's what I want to see. Now we've got proper people in charge, proper people. So I'm hoping now we start to look. You got Wan-Bissaka, obviously he's just come out of the World Cup, so we start to sort out his future. He's probably going to go. I think they're going to start to talk to now and negotiate with players that we want to keep. But yeah, let's look at a little bit of the statement. So yeah, it says key role will be leading the club's scouting and recruitment operation and supporting the board with football administration and negotiating with players, other clubs and intermediaries. That's a lot of stuff that Sullivan was doing. Anything that you take off Sullivan's hands, that's a big positive. He says, I'm really pleased to have this fantastic opportunity and very much looking forward to joining such a big club and part of something new. Look forward to working with Nuno. First focus will obviously be the transfer window and identifying the correct players to move us forward next season. We also want to keep the core squad intact. They had a very good run at the end of the Premier League season. So if we keep that together and not make too many changes, we start off with a good base. And that is spot on. And that is key. Look, there's players there that just weren't good enough last season. But we did start with a handicap. But we had that good run. And it's right, like we have to try and keep a core because we've seen it before. You make too many changes too soon to a squad. It don't matter about, the quality you brought in. You just end up with a disjointed team. So if we can really keep a consistent core group of players and add some new faces to it, and it's just not a whole new look team where we have to have a complete rebuild, we're putting ourselves in a strong position. Like, I think a lot of people was looking at it like, damn, this is going to be a rebuild. And I think when you're in a rebuild, you're in a transition. And to be in a transition when you need to go straight back up is not ideal. So that's really important. So I'm hoping that they can do that. So it says, Nuno has also emphasized that we must all have our focus together in the same direction. For any new players coming in, they have to be fully on board for what we want to achieve and feel what the expectations are for a big club. It's a huge honor to represent West Ham. Yeah, so it's the vision, that needs to happen. They need to get the vision. The players have to buy in. Shout out to Mr. Joe Hammer. 10 months. Looking skinny today, Danny boy. Cheers, mate. Cheers. Get in there. I'm getting there. I said to Jace, I think we need to do a weigh-in video. He's away. and we'll get on it. But yeah, usually all the football tops I got are so baggy now. Like you mostly see me in these baggy football tops. Shout out to Mark, member for 11 months. Well, coming in irons. Yeah. So like I said, he's saying all the right things, and what I'm hearing sounds good. Now I always say this: actions speak louder than words. But like I said, I think he's spot on. There is you sign a player and they have to have the right attitude. They have to come in, especially where we're going to be. We can't have anyone that thinks they're better than this league, and I'm just going to use this as a stepping stone. That's what you can't have. We've had it before. We kind of had it with the youth who come in and said that. I mean, he might stay at this rate because who's really trying to sign the youth? Who's really trying to sign him? Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, like I said, look, I won't read the whole statement, but positive news, guys, and hopefully we can start bringing in some players. But I think the first step will be establish who's staying. They have to do that. Like we need to know what's happening with Mavropanos. Like we're gonna have to know, like if we're gonna have to rebuild, like just sign a whole group of new centre backs. Todibo, I think, will go 100%. He said he's never playing for Nuno again. I don't think that fence can be mended, guys. I don't think that fence can be mended. It's a crazy situation. But we'll probably do a video and we'll go down player by player. But it's really sounding like Bowen is definitely staying. For what I'm hearing, what people are telling me, people get in touch. Bowen will stay. If Bowen stays, that has a knock-on effect to other players because they look at it and go, the captain, the best player, the talisman. Don't listen to whatever Spurs fans say. Do you remember when they signed Kudus and they signed our best player? And then they signed Fernandez and then they signed our best player again. It's like, no. Like Bowen is our best player, even when he's been off of it. But to keep him, then other players go, oh, like they're serious. That's so vital. Is you get him to officially commit to the club, and everyone else starts to go, there's something here. They're all going to start to see this now, the infrastructure that's coming in, upstairs and things that are changing. This is going to start to see a club that looks serious. That's key. Seeing a club that looks serious, that has ambition, and then we start to get people saying, then you can keep someone like Mavropanos. Maybe you can bring in Disasi if you slap the right deal down to Chelsea, because it's the money talks, whoever offers the best deal. And then we have someone to negotiate these deals. That's the beauty of it. Someone can go and negotiate these deals. Maybe some of these top players that we do want to keep, put in a little promotion bonus. A little promotion bonus for them. The ones that are staying. These players like Bowen, Mavropanos, if you get Disasi in, you give him a little promotion bonus. Some of these players, and you reward, like little reward for loyalty, getting us straight back up. I think that'll be key. That'll be absolutely key. And if we can win that league, yeah, it'll be massive, guys. It'll be massive. So, look, it's all positive at West Ham at the moment. People think I'm negative and I just moan all the time. When there's something to moan about, I moan. When there's something positive, like I'm positive. If things are positive, I'm positive. Yeah, Somerville. Yeah, if you give Somerville a promotion bonus, I lean towards he's probably gone. But if we kept him in the Championship, mate, if you had Somerville, Tatty, Bowen as your front three in the Championship, with like Wilson off the bench, mate, we would score record goals. I know it's probably not as easy as you think on paper, and it's a tough league, but still. Like Bowen, I think his last season for Hull, he scored like 56 goals in the Championship, Bowen. And that's before he came to West Ham and we improved and developed him into like the player he is now. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The thought of Bowen now. Like Bowen now versus what we signed of 56 players. So yeah, no, I am feeling positive for the new season. Doing well, Dan. Be on Vinted buying some bargains, mate, like I did when I lost 5 stone. Yeah, cheers. I this like all this shit's off Amazon. Like I like stuff that is tight around the sleeves. You know what I mean? So when you're in the gym, you're feeling good. It's not all baggy sleeves and that. When you're lifting the weights. So yeah, no, it's good. Like I said, it's a happy summer. It's a happy summer. You would never think that we'd just been relegated like 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. You would never imagine 5 weeks. You know, like we're looking forward to a season. I'm looking forward to this season more than I have looked forward to a West Ham season in years. And we've been relegated in the Championship. Imagine that, guys. It's it's great. It is great. So yeah, now I think everything will start moving quickly. We're going to be here talking about, you know, all sorts of stuff. We're in July now. World Cup, I think, finishes in 3 weeks. And then we're a few weeks away from the new season. So yeah, really good. I think Nicky's going to be going to some of the pre-season games. We got, is it Colchester? We got Rangers. I don't know if we're going to have anyone for the Susan Bowl Cup. I don't know I can't remember who's on that. Any chance Danny Ings comes back? Danny Ings, he's gone, I believe. Danny Ings is gone. So yeah, and I think identify some players that we can loan as well. We want some signings, but see if there's any players we can get on loan. I think a Disasi loan to buy would be great. You know, would be great for us, especially look, if Chelsea was like, look, we get up, mate, you get a guaranteed 30 mil. Chelsea would snatch your hand off for that. We've got this 85 mil in for Fernandes. You know, if Somerville does go, I would like to keep him. But if he does go, you know, that's probably 150 mil for the pair of them. Happy days. And then, you know, you get some of these other players, Fulkrug. They may just tear Fulkrug's contract up, to be honest. We probably won't get a fee for him. Wan-Bissaka, we want to be looking at about 20 mil for Wan-Bissaka, 15, 20 mil maybe for Wan-Bissaka. And then, yeah, Ward-Prowse, we may have to tear his contracts up, Cornet. So, yeah, we'll go over this. But, yeah, that's the thing. Now that they've said we haven't got any problems, Kretinsky is going to loan the club 100 mil. So we can go and recruit and invest, and hopefully that'll be on top of what we bring in. Happy days, guys. Happy days. So, in the meantime, we'll enjoy the World Cup, but everything's going to be going. And this is what we got to mention as well, actually. 45,000 season ticket renewals. Does that mean for a new person, the only available seats will be up in the gods? No, I don't believe so, because some of those season tickets are up in the gods. They are up in the gods as well. So you get the cheap seats. So there will be like, they're in each category, there will be a match day tickets available. So it's spread out. But listen, that's massive as well. 45,000 season tickets sold in the Championship. Let's remember that. Let's not let anyone try to diminish us as a fan base and the size of a club. We're in a club that has been deeply unsatisfied with how it's been run. But now Sullivan's gone. The belief is back. The support is there. 45,000 season ticket holders. Renewals. Amazing. You know, so that is a testament to how big of a club we are. In a stadium that not a lot of people like as well. I believe it is a Championship record. It's that is more than most clubs' capacities in the Championship. Probably every club's capacity. I think 45,000. I don't know if there's a club that has more than 45,000 seats in the Championship. So that is probably, it's bigger than everyone's capacity. And then so that's huge. So I don't know if it says a 15K for away fans and match day. Yeah, so you got away fans and you got match, but I think we've had I think it's like 5,000 or something or 3,000 for away fans. But there used to be like a little bit more for season to go. So I don't know if that's sold out, or that's just what they've sold so far, because I remember it was announced like 30,000 renewals a few weeks ago, and then it's jumped up to 45,000. Newcastle. No, I mean like now currently in the Championship, the clubs that are currently in the Championship. Um, so yeah, like for us, so I don't know if it's sold out on season tickets and everyone's renewed, but we'll see. The thing is, because what happens is they do the renewals first. Once the deadline's finished, which the deadline might be over now, they start offering them out to people on the waiting list and all of that, the season tickets. So yeah, it's exciting, guys. Just can't wait for the season to start. But it's all about who we get and who we keep. Happy days. So listen, welcome Nils. What a name. Nils Koppen. Welcome to West Ham. Get working. Bring us in some bloody signings. Bring us in some signings, mate. Keep the players and let's get rid of the dead wood. So listen, thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And listen, we'll be back. We'll be updating hopefully every day with a positive update, an exciting update. And listen, people might not tune in because they want to see the meltdowns, but we don't care. Listen, I'm happy. I'm enjoying following the West Ham news, and we'll keep you updated. So thank you all for watching. Have a good rest of your Saturday. And one thing left to say: come on, you Irons! Come on!